So let me start off with what is social desirability bias. My God, what a term. So social desirability bias is something to do with, if you look at it, it is the tendency to underreport socially undesirable attitudes and behaviors and to overreport more desirable attributes. You can see the picture out there. That person is saying, "Are you a smoker?" And he says, "Oh, of course not." And he has that smoke. He is actually smoking because he is scared that it's not socially acceptable, and so maybe he should say, "No, no, no, I'm not doing it." So the first thing is, when people say this, you want to deny, saying, "No, no, no," because you're afraid what is socially accepted, and you sort of exhibit behaviors which is more acceptable rather than behaviors which is not acceptable, though whether you like it or not. So what it is getting into is, do we need to be like that? I mean, in a social kind of a situation, as I was telling you yesterday, we are all social animals, right? And there are certain expectations when you are in a social kind of a platform, and in that, how do you behave is number one, and number two is what happens to us when, and which is what we started off on day one talking about self-reliance, which is to be able to voice one's opinion irrespective of social norms. So suppose in a social platform there are certain rules and regulations. Do we need to follow it? Yes, no, maybe. Please type that in the comment box. Yes, definitely we might want to follow that. And yesterday when we were, last class when we were talking about the, rules when we join a particular membership forum, automatically we start following those rules, right? So let's see what is social desirability bias. Okay, here you can see what is social desirability bias in terms of a definition. And so in other words, the participants have a tendency. So this is something I want to bring in from an angle of various surveys that are taken. Especially in a digital platform today, there'll be a lot of surveys. Suddenly you go into a certain platform, there'll be a survey that you need to take to, sort of rate it, good, bad, ugly, whatever. And especially in these kind of surveys, what happens is participants have a tendency to answer in ways that make them look good in the eyes of others, regardless of the accuracy of their answers. They're not really bothered about being honest, but what they are bothered about is, am I in the good books of others? And here's where the social desirability bias comes into picture. Like that beautiful picture out there says that, "No, no, no, I'm not smoking," but you're actually smoking. So when you're taking a survey, especially, and I'm like sort of focusing it in today's world where in digital platforms, you will be taking a lot of surveys. How honestly are you actually giving that feedback? Is it honest, or is it about how you look good in the eyes of others? And many times, you have these psychometric assessments. Some of you have taken it being in my one-to-one coaching process. Even in psychometric assessments, I have seen that people are not honest about themselves. It's sometimes so sad. What they are scared about is, what will the person think about me if I don't give a right answer? Now they know, see, and people start taking these assessments more than once. Okay. And what they do is, they know what the questions are, and they start thinking about what is right rather than what is spontaneous, what is, regardless, it's not about the accuracy. You start understanding what is the right answer, because when you're doing psychometric assessments, it's about you, and it is not about how accurate you are, but what you are as an individual, and every person is different. So what I am and what I give as an answer is going to be very different from what you are or what you give as an answer. And that is right. What you give as an answer is spontaneous. So one of the things that's very, very is asked to do as a participant is to be spontaneous when you're taking these psychometric assessments, especially psychometric assessments. You're not supposed to think too much, because then you will be looking at accuracy as opposed to what you are as an individual. So social desirability bias is to do with looking good in others' eyes in a social setup, whether it is in a social physical situation or it is in a survey kind of a situation where you're trying to make the answer accurate instead of it being what you are or what you really want to answer there. What will others think? So, for example, most people would deny that they drive after drinking alcohol because it reflects poorly on them, and others would most likely disapprove. Yes, this I have known so many such discussions around it. Did you, nowadays, when you're slightly late and you're coming back, and I like it when you're coming back, say you go to a mall and you're coming back home on the highway, whether it is man or woman, we are tested for alcohol, especially in Hyderabad. And that's one aspect of it. I don't know why I went there. But what I'm also talking about is there are situations when, when people drink and drive, and you ask them the next day, did you do that? They say, no, I didn't do that. I never do it. I never do. Because what they're bothered about is the answer that they give may reduce their social desirability. I mean, what will people think if I say, yes, I drank and drove, and I know that was not the right thing to do, and I'm going to be conscious about it from next time that I do this. I'm going to be very conscious about it. And you know what? Yesterday I got caught because I took that wrong decision of drinking and driving, and I should appreciate, the cops for for doing this. This is about being assertive. It's about the self-image that you create. It's about self-confidence. It's about self-trust. And it is also overlooking the desirability bias, and to be able to honestly say that, yes, you did it. It was wrong. I mean, it's not that all the time, everything that you do in your life, you do the right things, right? So, of course, drinking and driving is also dangerous. But, if you're able to accept it and then start saying, when people ask you, especially in a social setup, and it's also linked to, this, how important is status for you. And this is what is there in the test that I take, scarf assessment, where status is one of the aspects of it, which talks about how brain naturally is status oriented. It's like, it's not you, it's very natural for the brain to be status oriented and sort of number yourself in a group. Whether you're in a group situation in office or in the house or wherever you are, the first thing the brain does is, where am I in the group? Am I number one, number, or in the middle, or in the bottom? So it's natural for you to feel if people are not giving you that respect in the group, because it's equal to the pain of you falling down and getting hurt. And the physical pain and the mental pain is similar. And that's what are the those are the neurons that get activated when physical pain happens, and at the same time you're not getting socially accepted in a group, right? So this is social desirability bias. And what causes social desirability bias? It occurs when the topic either of the survey or interview is a sensitive one, and we need to understand this. So drinking alcohol is a sensitive thing, in the sense that it is a social taboo. Nowadays, of course, the generation has changed. They are very, like my daughter, for example, is very okay talking about, say, transgenders, or is okay talking about such things which I was not okay talking about when I was growing up. Or even talking about alcohol is okay. So when it is a kind of a topic which is a taboo, then there is a possibility of social desirability bias that happens. So we need to be also conscious about what is it that we are asking in a social setup, where the person may get into answering it in a way that is uh, uncomfortable, right? And deny saying, no, I didn't do this, no, I didn't drink, or no, I don't smoke, or whatever. So these are all sensitive ones, sensitive topics, which is a social taboo, right? So why I've put the surveys generally in social desirability bias is linked to surveys, is linked to questionnaires and surveys that you take online, or earlier it used to be even offline, like the surveys that was given in companies, employee surveys. People were very, very conscious about what their team would think, their managers would think, and would not really have an honest kind of a survey given. Okay, so it's a sense when it occurs when it's the topic is really sensitive. So the respondents give a socially accepted answer because the matter is too sensitive for them, so they don't want to reveal their true feelings about it. Here's where you need to deal with it. If it is something that's really sensitive, are you okay sharing your true feelings? And therefore, whether it is in a social situation or whether it is even at home, probably you do it more so at home. Sometimes people are even hesitant to share such things at home with their own parents, for example. You develop different relationships, how your comfort levels with different relationships are different. So where do you share what, and what are your comfort levels, and how sensitive is it is? And it's a matter of everywhere are you being, honest, and are you able to reveal? Certainly, I get a doubt if I'm recording this. Yes, and thank you. So, are you able to reveal, the feelings, thoughts, emotions about the particular topic, irrespective of social norms? And that's what is self-reliance, right? Self-reliance is able to voice opinions irrespective of social norms, whether it is in a social forum, whether it is in your home or in your house, or whether it is in a survey. Post-pandemic situation, many times it can be through a survey that people collect feedback. Yeah. Okay. In fact, you will be surprised that this topic is moving into another aspect, which is what I'm going to cover today. So what is the meaning of social desirability? Is a tendency for people to present themselves in a generally favorable fashion, saying, hey, I'm all good, I'm the best, I never do this. No, 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 I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't jump signals. So, they want to favorably present themselves whenever these kind of sensitive questions are asked to them, and especially the sensitivity is about them because they are sensitive about it. See, typically when people are sensitive about some things, it is something that probably they have done or not done in their lives, right? And so you're trying to deal with it in your own way, and that's the reason. So it's generally you want to present everything in a favorable fashion, which the society views basically as favorable. Okay, so this is what you need to understand. So what is the social desirability? And I wanted to bring this angle of partnership, social desirability, and relationship satisfaction. This even goes to the extent of violence between relationships and things like that. And this was defined as the extent to which a person distorts the appraisal of his marriage in the direction of social desirability, whether it's happening well or not. The way it is presented in a social setup is that it's all fine. And so see, this is extremely sensitive. There's so many people who come to me in the one-to-one coaching process where relationship is definitely an issue. And there are people in the coaching process have taken certain steps through the coaching, one-to-one coaching, 12 sessions. Okay, but why I'm bringing this relationship is, are you able to talk about it, if not with everyone, with certain people whom you feel you can take it up, and in not in the direction of social desirability, but truly, honestly, to be openly, share what's going on, and then move to the direction that you need to, which is suitable for both the parties. So this is just something that I need to bring in, which is very, very critical. There are a lot of issues around this. There are a lot of people who come to me about discussing about relationship satisfaction and things like that. So social desirability and relationship satisfaction is definitely one of the reasons why there could be sort of friction in the relationship. Now, this is leading to sort of another topic, which is actually within social desirability bias, which is about impression management. Okay, so an attempt to influence the perceptions of other people about a person, object, or event by regulating and controlling information in a social interaction. If you look at it, whatever I've spoken about you from day one to day 19 is all about social interaction, self, self, and linking that to social interaction. So impression management becomes very, very critical. Along with the social desirability bias leads to something called impression management. And it is the effort to control or influence other people's perceptions. In the corporate world, when I used to be working, one of the things that used to be discussed is about perception management. Is perception reality? Kind of a question that used to be asked everywhere you go. Whichever stage that you are in your life, in the corporate world, whether you are 10 years of experience, 15 years of experience, 20 years, and when you are 20 years, you realize, yes, you need to manage perceptions. That's where the impression comes in. So this could be their perceptions of a certain person, including you, a material possession, or an event, right? So how do you manage from social desirability bias? What's coming is the impression management. So this becomes extremely critical for you to manage even within your own family setup. How do you see? It's not about being fake, but it's about leading to self-esteem, leading to self-acceptance, leading to self-confidence, leading to self-identity, leading to self-respect and self-reliance, and therefore all the S's: self-sufficiency, non-conformity, thriving society. And if you remember what we talked in the beginning, non-conformity, thriving society, nature, how do you be close to nature so that genuinely you start doing these things, not thinking that it is fake, but it is required, it's needed in different situations, it is needed, right? This is something that needs to be something that you need to start accepting, because in the corporate world, this is a question that is always that perception management is the key for promotions. The people who are really visible and the people who are not as visible but extremely good but are not getting promoted, because this is something that they lack. Impression management is something that they lack, not because that they can't do it, but there is a belief system that no, why should I do it? Because my work shows it all. Yes, but unless you tell about yourself, no one is going to come and ask you. It's a big world out there. Whether it is Wipro or whether it is IBM, whether it is Accenture, it's almost like managing India. You see the number of employees in the wherever, whichever. I'm just taking these as examples. You have manufacturing setups, you have banking sectors, right? It's like a big, huge organization. Where are you in that? And no one is cares. And you can do your thing by like hiding yourself in the corner and being there. That's your choice. No one will care. You can do a 9 to 5 job and go. No one will care. What is it that you need to do for you to really manage this and the social desirability bias? Both of it are very strongly linked. Okay, so the theory goes on to explain that we try to make the perception consistent with our goals. So when we are very clear about our goals, then perception management becomes simple. That's why I keep saying, I'm here to help you with your goals. I help you write your goals. And the goals and effective roles together will help you reach your dreams and desires. Because goals cannot be just here. You need to write them down and you need to have a compelling cause to your goals. So goals can be written, but if you do not have the shine goal or the emotional goal, you wouldn't know what are the roles that you need to play within the goal. So the roles are basically taken care of by the alter ego course that I have, day 1 to day 14. And the goals is the diamond level, where I'll help you make your goals. You write them down and you reach them. So once your goals are very clear, your perception management becomes clearer in each. So that these goals can be personal goals, can be professional goals. Even in your personal life, your goals need to be clearer. All you're trying to do is to write them down and make it clear, because there's so many things in your mind. It's hodgepodge. Every day, every morning, you get up thinking of a million things. How are you going to handle that with the personal and professional goals in place? So I'm not saying this is the only thing, but if you have it in place, at least the next 3 to 1 year, you're clear. And then you can sort of create things on your own, but you need that kind of support. Sometimes, you can't do these things alone. Yeah. Okay. So impression management, the primary purpose of impression management is to establish or preserve someone's social standing. So what is your social standing? What do you mean by someone? Someone is you. You are that someone in a social setup, and an organization or is a social setup. Even your house is a social setup. A family, in some sense, is is more than you. It's not only you. How are you going to sell things to your husband or wife? Sell things to your kids? You need to create an impression. You need to demonstrate. It's a give and take process. We better accept it. It's not that family means it's only give. It is a give and take process. That is the reality. You have to give and take and need to demonstrate. I mean, there is no other go on this, and we need to be the relationship even in a family is a lot to do with I do this, you do that. Okay, because you come together for a purpose, and there are a lot of needs. Okay, while it might seem it's not material, it's the reality that there are needs that we are meeting. There are biological needs, there are financial needs, there are emotional needs that you are there are companionship needs that you take care of when you come together. And we need to give this is something we need to accept, and therefore you're creating an impression. You are creating an impression, and to preserve your own social standing, whether in a family or in a complex or outside or in the corporate world. Okay, so this is true even this is an example even in business situations, because companies rely on their societal perception. Like that's why you have something called corporate social responsibility. Why there nowadays companies are investing huge on corporate social responsibility, to say that I invest in charity, not to like brag about it, but that's something that is seen in branding, whether whether companies do that or not. Whether it's an Azim Premji or whether it is Narayan Murthy, Azim Premji invests, like I think more than half of his wealth in charity. He doesn't like really talk about it much, but to convince people to do business with them, that is one of the parameters. To convince people to do to get married, you have certain parameters, and it's a give and take process to convince people or your own children to say, hey, this is not good for you, the digital thing, you need to demonstrate it yourself, right? So it is about impression management. Let us accept it, and there is an effort that we need to do towards that. Okay, so 6 steps for impression management: self-disclosure, managing appearances, ingratiation, aligning actions, alter casting, and self-handicapping. I'm not going to be taking the ones that are not bold. The ones that are bold is what I'm, because those are like self-explanatory. So I'm just putting it out here. Ingratiation is to bring into the favor or good graces of another, especially by deliberate effort. Okay, can be done through opinion conformity, self-presentation, flattery, playing dumb. I know of people, extremely intelligent people who say, oh, I don't know that at all. Really? You know so much. They're just playing dumb. They know so much more, but they're trying to test, and they're trying to say that, hey, you are the best. I don't know anything. You tell me. Okay, it's you need to do certain things, like flattery. You just see, this is what one thing that I'm trying is a disclaimer here, is anything that you do, it is not to fake. You cannot fake it, because people will know. If you're just unnecessarily flattering people, they will know it. If you're unnecessarily playing dumb also, people will know it. Okay, so but these are things people do for ingratiation, for you to be accepted socially. Okay, or you confirm with certain opinions, or you present yourself in a way which is like very, very dignified, whatever way that you want to present, right? What is alter casting? Imposing roles or identities on another. Very clear roles you define and say, this I will do, this I'll do. Helps in a family, like between husband and wives, especially in today's situations. Both of them work. Have we spoken about this when we wanted to get married? That I am a working woman. I am equally, what do you say, busy as much as you are. Suppose I don't come home. How are you going to on a Saturday evening because I have work to manage? How are you going to have we ever discussed these things with our whomever we think we're going to get married? We never have these kind of discussions. We just take it for granted, saying, hey, this is a, we've just whatever got attracted physically probably with the individual, but those gone are those days where now people are I mean, we need to be talking about these things. Self-handicapping, protecting oneself's image with behaviors that create a handy excuse for later failure, could be due to fear of failure. Procrastination and self-handicapping have a strong sort of correlation. So these are, you can further research about this by yourself, but what I'm trying to say is there is a strong connection between impression management and social desirability bias. Okay, so having said this, what I'm going to be, so impression management will lead to a balanced social desirability bias, because if you manage it, sorry, if you manage impressions, then um, you will not have this desire to be seen favorably always in a social kind of a setup. Okay, because that's something that comes in if you are sort of scared that you will not be accepted in a social situation, right? So this is what it is. So having said this, let's get into the affirmation of day 19, which is I make a good impression by being my authentic self. Okay, and there you go with Ralph Lando's quote, where's the stars. This is to do with nature, because that was as part of self-reliance. He talked about non-conformity, he talked about nature here, he also talked about personal responsibility. These were the three things that came in. And why I'm bringing in nature, the stars awaken a certain reverence, because though always present, they're always inaccessible, but all natural objects make a kind red impression when the mind is open to their influence. So what it means is it's so natural, right? So so you be authentic and natural as nature is. Okay, in the most toughest situations, be authentic and see what it does to you. Okay, so this is basically a full stop here. So just look at this in terms of yeah, the assignment, the AA 19, and let's do the affirmations together. I'll go 3, 2, 1, and we can do the affirmations together. I make a good impression by being my authentic self. We do that 3, 2, 1, and then the assignment is there. Get all the assignments together and do it on a day-to-day basis, along with your goals that you've made, along with the 3SS plans you probably would have made. For people who are in my community, for following the what do you say, alter ego game that you are into, right? So there we go. So can we do 3, 2, 1, and we go with the affirmation? 3, 2, 1. Go ahead, ladies. I make a good impression by being.
I make a good impression by being my authentic self.
Okay, let's go 3, 2, 1. Again.
I make a good impression by being my authentic self.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you so much. And one last time, 3, 2, 1. I make a good impression.
I make a good impression by being my authentic self.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. So look at the assignment 2. And then tomorrow I'm going to be taking the session at 12 noon. At 12 noon. So it's on unconscious bias. And day after, I will take the session. I will announce when the timing will be. It will be again, I think, at 12 noon, because I'm traveling, and we'll make it happen. It's a digital world. We can take the session from anywhere. But tomorrow, I'll be taking the session at 12 noon. I'll post it in the various forums and the internal forums. So thank you so much. Be at it. Do the AAs, AA1 to AA19, 2 more days to go. And the last day, we're going to dance it out and close it. And when you have all these, when you join my community, for people who haven't, you will get all of this, in a very, very structured way with frameworks for you to implement behavior from day 1 to day 21. Thank you, and keep the notes going. Thank you, all of those who've been continuously taking those notes. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye. See you tomorrow for the next topic, unconscious bias at 12 noon. Tomorrow is at 12 noon. Bye-bye.